Welcome back to another episode of The Brandon Chin Show. This is episode 287. And like I spoke about on the last episode, the 3-year return. Because it's been 3 years since I've recorded this podcast in earnest. We're going to do this thing in 4 different segments every episode. First, a story. Second, a piece of Japanese art. A traditional craft. Third, practical use case of said craft. Or the historical and cultural background of that art. And last but not least, the fourth, something about my books. As you can see on the video part of this podcast, because like I said in the last episode, this is going to be a video podcast, which you can see on YouTube. Just search at Raw Japan Art or Brandon Chin, and the channel should pop up. Don't forget to subscribe. Alright, so 4 different segments: story, piece of Japanese art, the cultural historical background or practical use case of that art in the modern day, and one of my books that are based in Japan. Let's get into it. First, a story. I want to talk about my first time experiencing Noh theater, the 600 plus year old theatrical art form, also known as the oldest living form of theater in the world, because it's still practiced as it was all those centuries ago. So, for those that don't know, the first time that I came to Japan was 2011 as a 19-year-old university student. Yeah, I spent the prior about 10 years during my childhood, 8 to 18, Jacksonville, Florida, practicing karate under an Okinawan sensei. As you know, as some of you may know, Okinawa, the Ryukyu Islands, kind of similar to Australia in that a lot of criminals were sent to these islands back in the day, but completely different in that the Ryukyu Islands, now known as Okinawa, was its own kingdom, completely different than Japan. They did business with Japan and China, but we're not going to get into that. Let's just say it was rough. People from Okinawa are tough and rough. So my sensei was tough and rough. During those 10 years, I learned a lot about Japanese culture, which eventually encouraged me to visit when I went to university. UCF, Orlando, University of Central Florida, Knights. Let's be real, I don't care about football or any of college sports, but for those that know, now you know where I went to college. So 10 years of practicing karate culminated in my first trip abroad by myself to Japan at the ripe age of 19. So I came, I saw, and I went back after like 6 weeks because the Fukushima nuclear disaster happened while I was there. Luckily, I was very far away in Fukuoka. I went back to the States. Fast forward 6 months, a year. I'm taking classes, practicing to become a dentist. I said, what is this? University is not just a time to to shove all of this information in these textbooks into my mind. It is a time to self-explore. So I find a way to go back to Japan when I was 21. Yes, drinking age in the US. For the Europeans listening, it doesn't really matter to you, but, it is what it is. So I go back to Japan. And this time around, I'm smarter. I'm more equipped. I'm ready to explore not only myself, but this country of Japan. The first time, it's all fresh, it's bright, it's dazzling. Like, it's hard to really take everything in because it's so overwhelming. But the second time around, you got your bearings. You kind of know how things work, right? So I'm back in Japan, and this time I'm focused. I said I really want to learn more about the traditional culture. I meet some people going out to drink. I meet a lot of people 20, 30 years into their Japan experience. Old Brits, old Americans, gray. And there's just something in common with these guys. They don't speak any Japanese. And they rely heavily on their wives to survive. From everything from daily trips to the city hall to take care of forms, etc. It's just, I saw it and I knew right then and there that's not what I wanted to become. Also, I was different in that I had this background in karate. So my sights were set on going deeper into the traditional culture. But I knew that if I wanted to do that, I had to actually experience it firsthand. And so one day in Hiroshima, I was volunteering on this small island called Osaki Kamijima, helping out a former policewoman from Tokyo rebuild her life after divorce and leaving the big city for a small island of a few thousand people, where she was building up and renovating 20-year-old house that she bought for literally a few $1,000s, I think. Just one day, I said, listen, I keep seeing instances of this mask in movies and anime. If you're familiar with, now the movie escapes me. The big anime one with the no face. Wow. Spirited Away. That mask. It's haunting, right? A lot of people see that and they're like, oh, spooky. But what really got me was not Spirited Away. It was a movie called Mujo, or The Transient Life, about this guy lives in Kyoto. It's a black and white kind of artsy film. My friend recommended it to me. Or people, let's just say I got it on my hard drive by sharing seeds with other people. For the people that know, they'll know. Pass the popcorn. My friend recommended that platform to me. I got this movie onto my hard drive, watched it, blown away, not just by the cinematography, but by the story. There's some crazy stuff in that story, that movie. But they had these masks. And if you're watching the video podcast, you can see one of those masks, a real mask that they wear on stage, made by a no-mask master that makes masks for the actors. One of those masks was in this movie. I saw it and I was just struck. literally got punched in the gut. And I was like, wow. Yeah, I remember watching it on the bus. It was like a night bus to a mountain resort where I spent my first 10-day silent retreat through Vipassana meditation. Really weird stuff. Anyway, when I saw that, I was like, this is my ticket into the traditional culture. At first I was lost. I was like, I really want to get deeper. I have this karate background. I'm meeting these people in the countryside. I feel like I'm getting that experience that a lot of other foreigners don't get when they first come to Japan, either through meeting a Japanese person abroad, falling in love, coming here, or starting to teach English. I was doing a different route, volunteering in the countryside through WOOF, Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. And I just felt very grateful, met a lot of people, finally found the ticket into traditional Japanese culture through this movie, The Transient Life. Saw the no masks, went to meditate in the mountains 8 hours a day, not talking to anybody, silent retreat. Just watching your breath in, out. No masks on my mind. Come out refreshed, focused more than I've ever been. And I go to watch a real no theater performance in Tokyo. And I was transported literally to another world. The sounds, first of all, it's 4 hours. Okay? And let me tell you that there are no young people watching this show. It's all gray-haired people that are falling asleep. I'm not lying to you. People, I can hear snores in the fucking show. Okay? It's old people talking neck back over the chair. Do not give a fuck. I'm asleep. Type vibes. And still, I was enthralled, engrossed. I knew the language is old, people. Japanese people don't even know what they're saying. They need a book to understand the language. I'm the only foreigner in the show. And still I'm enthralled because the sounds, the movements, they're creeping across stage. And I'm Jamaican, so I'm used to the dance hall, like it's all energy vibes, right? This is slow. A lot of people think, what are they doing? But for me, it was like, look at the control, the energy. Remember, I'm just coming off a 10-day retreat of sitting like this, right here on a pillow. An ass pillow. What they call zabuton in Japanese. My hips, everything hurts. But you gotta stay still and watch your breath. And so I'm coming off of this type of experience to this stage, this theater in Tokyo. And I'm amazed at the control, the self-control it takes to slide across the stage without changing your posture, without moving up or down. You're following a line. Your knees are bent at the correct angle. You're sliding. You're looking at the stage and the people watching through tiny holes. You're only, how can you say, markers to know where you are in the space, or 4 wooden pillars at each corner of the stage. You're wearing heavy-ass kimono that the royals used to wear back in the day. It's amazing to me. I'm just taken away. I'm 21. Like, what is this? And from there, I just got sucked in. Whenever I had the chance, I'd try to book tickets. Kyoto, Tokyo, outside in Kyoto, Takino. by the fire at night. Sounds from your gut. They're singing, they're bellowing. There's also taiko drums. There's flutes. There's stomping. It's amazing to me. And that was my entry into the traditional art and culture world of Japan. Right? And now, what is that? That was 2012. Right? Because the first year, 2011, 19 fresh, 6 weeks, Fukushima, goodbye, back to the US. Come back, it was 2012. Okay, so maybe I was 21. I was 21, because 2011, bear with me as I recount this. That was February. That was the earlier part of 2011. My birthday's in August, so I turned 20 that year. 2012, 21. Came from August to December. And now 2023. What is that? Oops, my little thing fell off. 1 second here. 2023. That is 11 years. No public math. 11 years. Over a decade. Later, I'm actually working with a no mask maker. He's in his 70s. He works with all the top actors in the Kansai region, Kyoto, especially. It's amazing how things happen, right? Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next segment. I should have like a sound here that transitions us to the next segment. Let's make it like a no drum. I'll find the sound when I edit it. Boom! Now! Maybe I won't even edit this. Maybe it's better raw. There's just so much editing, with the shorts and all that. Maybe I should leave long form to be this kind of like diary form type stuff. I don't know. Let me know what you think. How can you let me know what you think? Of course, my newsletter, rawjapanart.com. Sign up with the pop-up. Type in your address, or just there should be like a form in the top part. Boom, boom, boom. Any newsletter, I email daily. Reply to that, saying what you want for the podcast. All right, second segment, a piece of Japanese art. Of course, you knew what we were going to do. We were going to talk about these no masks. I would take it down, but then I wouldn't be able to hold this mic. And, some people might say, why don't you clip it here? I want the sound to be as crisp as possible, so I need to hold it with one hand. But we'll see how things progress. Yes, no theater masks. It's a thing, man. This one is a hanya, which is a demon mask. But really, actually, it's a woman that basically turned into a demon because of jealousy. Yes, that's right. She was jealous. This dude she liked, found another woman. And she turned. She's like, that's my man. Got jealous, turned into a demon. I don't think she threw hands or anything like that, but that energy, that jealous energy, boiled up inside of her and just threw her into a rage. Yeah. But nowadays, it's used on stage. You don't really see this in people's houses as much as you would like to. I would like to see the Hanya displayed in your house. You know? A lot of people see it as an angry mask, but if you really look closely, there's some sadness in there. It's the way their eyebrows go. It's very sad. Maybe I should throw up a picture here. Boom, so you should see. But yeah, wow, it goes to show you anger, which I think is an emotion we should not suppress, is usually covering something, protecting something, and what is usually pain, which translates into sadness. When I heard this story about this mask, how I reflected on my own anger. When I feel angry at things, what is it really? What am I protecting? If you want to use Western psychology, your inner child, your inner teen. The teen is more anger, the child is more pain and sadness. And so the teen is protecting the child with anger. I'm not a psychologist. This is stuff I've taken therapy. It's stuff that my therapist told me, so I don't know. But yeah, it makes sense when you think about it. She looks so angry and, just that gnarling face, the teeth, the mouth, the horns, the hair coming off on the sides. She's enraged. You took my man! But really, it's just covering up the pain inside. The pain of why not me? But yeah, it's just a cool mask to display. If you choose to display this in your room, like I have here, it's not like some subtle sign about being jealous of somebody or someone. It just looks cool. Right here, boom. Usually they have a whole frame to it. Actually, I can show you it. But, this frame is very heavy. And I chose not to use it because it fell down once. And I don't want to damage the mask. But look how cool this pattern is. If you're watching the video, if you're listening, you should go on YouTube and watch the video as well to see the patterns on this thing. It's amazing. This is recommended, and I bought this from the No Mask Maker in Kansai. And so you can hang it up like this. So this is how it would look in your house. Yeah, if you want one, of course, rawjapanart.com. Yes. It is $5,000 though, so, for people that aren't interested in no theater, I wouldn't recommend it. It's probably more suitable for serious collectors. Yes. Alright, that is the second section, Actually, that was the second and third segment blended together. I introduced No Mask to you and how you can use it in your everyday life. Let's get into the last segment. My books. As you can see, there's one here, Kyosei, which is actually the first novel that I wrote. I'll throw up the cover here. Boom. And it's based, you can tell by the hair and all that, it's based off of my first experiences in Japan. I wrote it back in 2016. Can you believe it? 24. My first novel. It's actually not my first novel. My first novel I wrote when I was like 11. Actually, I have it here. You can see it. Yeah. It's called... Yeah, it's actually... But this one's also based off my life. Norbert the Nerd. Look how thin that is. As you can see, yes, it is a white little boy on the cover. My little brother made fun of me for this. He's like, well, you don't... Did you have some type of complex back in the day? Listen, I went to a white school. This is probably what I saw. Maybe I was thinking about the market. Who's going to buy my book? It's mostly white readers. So maybe I started off, with the business objectives. But no, this could also be just something I twisted in my mind. But when I think back to it, I'm like, this is construction paper, right? And the brown construction paper they had was pretty dark. It just didn't look right with the Sharpie. I was trying to draw the face on it. Yeah, as you can tell, my art skills suck. And I'm like, I can't see it clearly, So I wanted the cover to pop. And look, you can see from afar, right? I don't know, maybe that's an excuse, but in any case, it's a little white boy. Norbert the Nerd. I can even show you the biography part. 9 years old. 9 years old. Yes. I think, when did I write that? 9 years old. I was born in 91. So, yeah, that's 1999. 1999, 2000. That's amazing. Yeah, it's about a little boy that is trying to find his way in his environment. As I said, I went to an all-white school. It was a Catholic school, too. Jackson, Florida, San Juan del Rio Catholic School. And there were like four black people in the entire school. Think about that. 4 people that look like you. Not even in your class. You're the only one in your class that looks like you. You gotta find a way to adapt, move through these white spaces. But look, I don't regret anything. Those experiences played a huge role in how I move through the world today, right? It's important to know how to move through different environments. In any case, I made sure that Kyosei, the first novel I wrote, taking writing seriously, 24 years old, represented people that look like me. So now most of my books are from the perspective of black people. And a lot of them are based on experiences that I'm having daily here in Japan. So if you like stories that are written in Japan, then these books are for you. But let me tell you about Kyosei. Kyosei, the word, it's a Japanese word, which means living together with nature in harmony. A lot of my experiences in Japan, in the first couple years, were spent on farms in the countryside, working alongside Japanese families. It was amazing. I saw how they lived harmoniously with nature. Sustainable lifestyles. That was the whole premise of the WOOF program. Worldwide opportunities on organic farms. WWOOF. Yes, I was very interested in that. And of course, like I said, I come from a Jamaican background. Yes, born in the US. I would go out to school, that's America. But when I went back home, that was Jamaica. And as you know, Bob Marley, Rastafarian, well, my parents weren't Rastafaris, but they had a heavy influence from the Rastafari community. So everything was about not marijuana. My parents, a lot of people don't know this. Jamaicans, on a whole, are pretty conservative people. I would say very conservative. They're, I don't know, deep, heavy Christians. I think there was some stat that there are the most churches per square mile in Jamaica, in the world. The country with the most churches per square mile is Jamaica, this small little island. So, you know what that comes with? They're not very, let's just say they're not heavy supporters of the LGBTQ community. And so there's another story. They burned a gay bar down within one day of opening. You know? Yeah. All right. So now that you know that, marijuana is also not a big thing for most Jamaicans. But the image of Jamaica to the international community is Bob Marley and reggae. And so that's what everyone thinks. They go to Jamaica, vacation, weed, but they got to go off some off-route down to the farmer thing, whatever. Yes. And so, what was I talking about? That was a good tangent, though. That was a good tangent. And so, yeah, there we go. That's what it was. So, yeah, my background is living off the land. Not marijuana, but eating whole foods, close to organic as possible. Getting sun, exercising, rest, taking care of your body, your health, all aspects of your health, mind, body, spirit. That also was related to martial arts, signing me up for karate at the ripe age of 8. All of that comes from Jamaican culture. Yes. And so that played a part in my first book, Kyosei. Although the word is Japanese, let's not get it twisted. Jamaica had a huge part to do with that. That's why I got locks in the book. Well, I'm not the character, but the character's based off of me. As you can tell by his name is Chin, but spelled with the Q, because that is the first dynasty in China, because I am quarter Chinese, which is why my last name is Chen. That first dynasty in China brought all of the different nations and peoples in China under one ruling emperor. Unity. And that's what I speak about in this book. No, not the first dynasty in China, but unity. There's AI robots. There's assassinations. There's thrills. There's kills. All the stuff you would love in a historical thriller. Alright, first episode. I think this is pretty good. It's not the first episode, but one of the first episodes after the 3-year return. Kind of rough around the edges, I'm not gonna lie. But as I said, over time, things will get tighter. Pop, pop, pop. Move through each segment with speed and grace. See you on the next episode. And if you have any questions, topics you want me to talk about, reply to any of my newsletters through rawjapanart.com. Sign up today. Good night. Take care. See you on the next episode.